All Hands Craft Cocktails is a new bar-strength canned cocktail. It's made with 6 times distilled vodka and 10% ABV to make sure you never have to sacrifice the quality of your drink. All Hands Craft Cocktails, founded by Aggies and a proud partner of Texas A&M Athletics. Fighting Texas Aggies are 6-1 after the weekend in Orlando with a victory over Penn State, playing FAU and coming from 21 points down to beat Iowa State yesterday. The Aggies, number 13 in the poll. And, yeah, the applause with the head coach of the Fighting Texas Aggies. I'm in for Todd Callis. I'm Andrew Monaco. The only thing missing was Dusty Baker, right, that weekend.
Yeah, coach is ahead of all of us,
yes,
like distinctly ahead of all of us.
There's a reason for that applause, Buzz. Howdy, by the way. But you said even after the Florida Atlantic game that you just had joy watching the team compete against Florida Atlantic. And then you're watching that team compete, and grit just comes to mind. The team played with so much grit, so much compete, coming from behind in that victory.
Yeah, I think that I've got to do a better job of being where my feet are. I talk to our guys about that all of the time. And I'm just trying to be present emotionally in the moment. If I can help them, I want to help them. But I think that what is going on is special. I don't know that the results are going to be special, but I do know that the people are special. And I think that in 2023, that's uncommon. And so I don't know how many more times it'll happen, but while it's happening, whether it's game day, whether it's on TV, whether it's at Disney World, whether it's at Reed Arena, or whether it's in my office, I want to do a better job of having joy. And I want to do a better job of being patient enough to listen and patient enough to care. And I have so many deficiencies, but that's probably the biggest one, because I'm always wanting to go to what's next, and I'm always thinking about the next possession and the next game, and I understand all of it. And some of that has trended in my professional career in a good way. And I think at some point it's just about maturing as a human being. Like, do I want to keep saying these things at 70? And I talked to Coach Beamer this morning, the longtime coach at Virginia Tech. He sat on the bench with us at UVA, and I was asking him if he wanted to come Wednesday. And he's had such a profound impact on my life. And, you know, one thing that I always pick up from him is enjoy this moment. And don't rush to the next thing. The next thing's going to show up on its own. And treat this moment for what it is, and that's a gift. And I wish we would have beat Florida Atlantic. They're really good. They were in the Final Four last year, and they'll have a chance to be in the Final Four this year. They have really, really good players, multiple NBA players. They have a really good head coach who puts them in. He coached circles around me. He's putting those guys in incredibly good positions to be successful. And I learned a lot from the game. I learned a lot from studying Florida Atlantic. I know the name doesn't sound appealing, but what they're doing is incredibly good. And I think we were down 18 in that game and brought it to within 4. Could have been 5. And there was a lot of reasons in that game when we could have just said, never mind, we'll try it again later. But I know the result yesterday was better and more fun. But a lot of the same things that transpired yesterday, they also transpired Friday. And I think that is special. And so if we win a bunch, I want to make sure I give praise to the staff and to the players. And if we lose a bunch, I understand I have to be accountable for that. But what I want to be most accountable for are the people in the organization. And I want to do a better job, no matter how fast the world goes and no matter what social media is saying and no matter this person said that or this opinion. I think this moment and these people are to be cherished, and I want to do a better job of that. And watching all of that unfold yesterday, like, I mean, Henry was coaching the team.
You had two coaches, and, unfortunately, on the sideline.
Boots had a lot of opinions, too. And I was like, hey, man, are you a civilian or are you with us? And it was just, like I was talking to Four at the end of the game and seeing the things that Solo did. I thought Wildens was the player of the game. Eli has 3 defensive rebounds. He hasn't had 3 defensive rebounds since he moved to Texas. I thought Jason H were just like fighting they were fighting a heavyweight fight with just the most pure energy you could possibly have. I thought Mo made good play after good play. It's hard to take Andy off the floor. Yeah. I think he told me today, he said that's the highest point total he's ever had in college. And I said, I don't think that's right. I think didn't you score 1 more point at Auburn? He goes, oh, yeah, I scored 11 at Auburn. But, like normally you think of someone that you don't want to take off the floor like they're doing something relative to scoring the ball. But he just does so many other things. And I just, again, there were so many things, not a thing, not a person. There's just so many good things. And so
I know you don't make it about yourself, but you always say, I don't know if it's the right way. It kind of validates that you are doing it the right way.
Well, this is what I am convicted about in a positive way. I think the experience, however long they're here, whether they transfer here or leave or whatever may happen, some of that is uncontrollable. But I do think the experience of what we do and the foundation that we try to lay for their life as a future husband, as a future father, as a future leader, I do believe those things are right. Are we like running the best offense? Is our defense any good? What's going on in special situations? That's always up for debate, and I think our staff is really doing a phenomenal job of putting our guys in a position to be successful in that specific game. But I think when they get older, I do think that they will look back and know that we love them for who they were. And if they scored a bunch of points, we didn't love them any different if they didn't play. So I think that I believe we're right on. I constantly question myself during a game, like, man, what they were doing yesterday to attack our low man was like, I don't think they've slept since they played last. Right. Because I haven't seen that in a while. I wish I would have told our guys about that. But I think the relationship piece that is an intangible, our players to players, coaches to coaches, coaches to players, players to coaches. I do think that there is an unspoken bond that's built on the right things. And I think sometimes that gives us a category of a competitive advantage because of those relationships. And so, yeah, I'm too old for it to be about me. Yeah. I used to think it was about me and it was about the coach and, he's smarter than everybody else. And I think all of that is way overrated. And I think the exposure of TV and social media has kind of created all of these bloggers and all of these people that, like, they think they know and they've literally never been on Team Bus One, and so they don't know. But the people that are on there that are doing the work day after day after day, you can't hide from that. People know. And at the front of that group, players always know.
Yes.
Players know players, and players know coaches. Yes, now, they may not have their own radio show, and they may not be able to articulate it to the listeners like, oh, that sounds right. But players know. And I think our players know that we love them, and I think they know that we want to try to help them be better as people. And I think that they also know that we're going to hold them accountable to their work. And along the way, we're always going to tell them the truth. And that sounds good in a home visit. But when you're having to tell the truth in real time, when you're down 21, That's not always the easiest thing to do on national TV when you're tired and when your phone is full of messages and 100 other voices. But I think when you can receive the truth, that always speaks to the character of the people that are getting the truth.
We'll have more with Buzz Williams. It's the Buzz Williams Show. Come on back to Rudy's. This is Aggie Basketball from Learfield. Howdy, Ags. Andrew Monaco here, inviting you all to visit Costa Vida Fresh Mexican Grill. Baja-style Mexican, made from scratch daily, serving breakfast tacos, lunch, and dinner. Aggie owned and operated by our friend Holly in South College Station. It's the Buzz Williams Show, and we are at Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road, here at College Station. Buzz, you use two words. You use love, you use trust. Elijah Robinson in two of the Aggie football hours that we did, getting a chance to talk to the interim. Today, we introduced Mike Elko as the new head coach. He said it's a priority to keep Elijah Robinson on this staff. But I put a couple of things together for him. Elijah is huge on how a team responds and the importance of love and trust.
I think they're going to continue that what's next mindset and not allow what happened that we have no control of to control the rest of the game, you know. So it's always going to be what's next. What can we do next? We can control, we can control. So that's what we've been preaching to the guys, and I think they're embracing it.
You talked about how important love is. You talked about how important trust is. And when you talked about both of those, you also threw in that word truth that you have to have for a team to be successful, don't you?
I completely agree with that. I believe in that truly because, like I said, it's two things. You go back to who loves you more than anybody. Majority of the time it's your parents. And when you know your parents love you, and how do you know your parents love you, right? They sacrifice. It's no longer about them. It becomes about you as their children. So love creates sacrifice. And then when trust happens, if I trust somebody, they can tell me the truth. They can tell me exactly what it is, if I'm doing right or if I'm doing wrong. If I truly believe in that person and know they're going to be honest with me, I'm going to listen to them.
Truth is your number one rule on your team.
Yes, sir. That is team rule number one the last 17 years. Always tell the truth, comma, no matter your emotional state, period. Secrets are lies. And the hardest part is not the truth part, in my opinion. The hardest part is no matter your emotional state. That's where receiving the truth is very hard, because a lot of times I think when people talk about the truth, it sets a standard as if the person that's speaking is telling the truth. I understand. I agree. But that's only half of it. It's who's hearing it. They have to receive it. And that's why I think truth sometimes is overblown and misused. Trusted truth reveals. When people just say, I want to hear the truth, okay, I understand. But it has to be trusted truth that reveals. And so, not to take away from Coach and what he was saying, nor am I objecting to anything that any coach would say in regards to that. But there's layers to truth. And when you start talking about all of the life experiences of the players, where they come from, of the coaches and where they come from, sometimes their experiences dictate what they believe the truth is. And so hearing the truth, me and you may think one thing is the truth, but we may have also grown up down the street over here. Some of these other people that we're talking about, they might not have ever even been on this side of the tracks. And so I think you have to be really careful when you just throw out the word truth. And I think you have to be extraordinary careful when you talk about trust. Yes, I understand the parents. Not everybody has two parents.
Correct.
Right? And not everybody knows their parents. And so when you start talking about truth, I think you have to be really careful in what the truth actually means. And I believe the same thing as love. Like, if we use a word, we always define the word, because everybody has different definitions of the word. Love in our program is true love, and true love has no agenda. That means I don't have an agenda just because you have a gift as a basketball player. True love means I don't have an agenda. I'm going to love you differently if you are preseason player of the year. No. You raise wolves to hunt so that on Sunday when you got 2 wolves not hunting, them other ones hunt. Doesn't mean that everybody knows who they are. But that's love. That's true love. I'm going to coach the walk-on, the 12th man. He needs to get the same amount of energy in regards to the truth that whoever the best player is gets.
He's Buzz Williams. It's the Buzz Williams Show. The Aggies are at Virginia. It's the ACC-SEC Challenge on Wednesday evening. 6:15 is the tip. We'll join you at 5:30 with the Dos Equis tip-off show. More with Buzz when we return to Rudy's. This is Aggie basketball from Learfield. Texas Farm Bureau Insurance wants to give you a VIP Aggie basketball fan experience this year. Go to 12thman.com/maroon contest and register. One winner and a guest will receive game tickets, a VIP tour of Reed Arena, and you'll be recognized on the video board during the game. Register today at 12thman.com/maroon contest. Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, proud partner of Texas A&M Athletics. It's crossover season. That's when football and basketball cross over. And during Thanksgiving weekend, the basketball team goes on a tournament. Andrew stays with football. And I'm at LSU on Saturday. But that didn't stop the head coach of basketball, along with his BFF, Todd Callis. Hear a compilation of the pregame and the postgame shows of Buzz Williams busting Andrew's chops.
Coach, thanks and good luck.
Yeah, you've done a great job. If you could record this and send it to Monaco, it might give him a clinic of some sort. Thanks.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Is this equipment a little different than normal?
Yeah, this one's one of the other ones that we supplied.
Football has the good ones.
Can you hear us okay?
It's
No,
all right.
Andrew took the good ones with him.
Andrew took the good
Well,
ones.
yeah, we subbed out good equipment for a good announcer. I'll take that sub.
Coach, Andrew will be back for the UVA game. Let me just take this time to say thank you and your staff so much for making me feel like part of the Aggie family for the weekend, and good luck today.
Well, I know Dusty's not there anymore, so we can create a job at A&M. You can just catch a commercial flight to Virginia from here, and we'll meet you there. Sounds like Monaco's got some other things going on, so you're welcome to join us in Virginia. We probably should be leaving from here and going straight there ourselves.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it. Buzz, thanks. Well done. Appreciate it.
Are you going to Virginia?
Do you want me to?
Well, Monaco probably has some responsibilities on campus. He's got a podcast and
a lot going on.
He's got some other stuff going on. So
Andrew will be back.
Well, we'll check with him. We'll see what
I think he'll make it.
I know, but it's like he just dictates whatever he wants to do. Like he could have been here on Thursday, right? We played Thursday at 11 o'clock Central Time, and 48 hours later is when the football team kicked off.
He's dying right now.
Well, it doesn't take 48 hours to get from Orlando to Baton Rouge.
You could actually drive that, I think.
Monaco.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think he's dictating, like, when he's having Thanksgiving meal, when his daughter, when his son. Like, I understand. I respect that.
Coach, appreciate it.
But I think he thinks we don't know. That's why I'm saying.
Okay, well, I think everybody knows now.
Yeah. The four people that are listening, they know. And Monaco's one of the 4.
You know that's right.
Yeah, and Laura makes 5. Schloss, do I still have a job in spring? Because apparently I have been replaced. Thank you. Apparently I've been replaced by TK, so I don't know if he's going to make it to Charlottesville. God, that's too funny, Buzz. That is just too funny.
That was actually pretty funny, even for me.
No, it was awesome. Hey, I was thrilled to have TK.
Obviously, Rock knows him better, as does Coach, than I do. But I mean, I don't know if he did a good job. I don't know if you do a good job. I never listen.
Your parents say I do.
Yeah. Paul and Nani were at the game against Oral Roberts. That's the first game they've been to since last December. And in the most sincere way, they adore you and Coach Thornton.
That's kind. So
we played on Friday against Oral Roberts, I think.
Yes,
we played
it was
on
a Friday. Yeah, it was before.
Yeah, so they spent the night in on Saturday. They started talking about you and Coach Thornton, and giving me examples as if I'm listening. Paul Nani, I'm not listening. I'm coaching the game. But, they're my parents, so I want to be respectful. And so they say what they had to say, and my dad is explaining how when the game is on TV, he doesn't listen, and he's listening to you and coach.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, Dad, is it in sync? Or is the TV ahead of what they're saying or behind? He said, well, if it's too far ahead, we just turn the TV off and we just listen to. And when he said that, I go, Dad, are they any good? They're real good. Son, they're real good. And I go, well, they're real good people. I don't know if they're real good announcers. But, when he said that, I was like, well, they must be pretty good.
I appreciate that.
That's pretty cool.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Father. I appreciate that. What more of the Buzz Williams Show? We'll return to Rudy's. This is Aggie basketball from Learfield. We want you to head over to take two. Head on over to your local Rudy's or Rudy's.com to place an order for the real Texas barbecue. Enjoy 100% oak smoked meats, delicious sides, and Rudy's signature sauce. And don't forget, Rudy's serves made-to-order and grab-and-go breakfast tacos every day until 10 a.m. That is where we are right now. We are at Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road here in College Station. It is the Buzz Williams Show. Drink in front of the behind the mic, and that drives my engineer, Kevin, absolutely crazy. We have a question, and of course, always to the front of the line when Ian asks the question. And Buzz, what has surprised you most about the team this season?
Well, probably just collectively that how they have bonded so well off the floor and how that's apparent on the floor this quickly. Obviously, this is today begins the fourth week of the season, so we're not even through a month. The regular season is 18 weeks long.
Yeah.
That's a long time. I think a little bit of playing 2 Power 5 teams in October. I think playing 6 games out of the first 8 in the month of November on the road. There's a lot of built-in time where you are somewhat forced to be together. I think that's helped some. One of the 2 scrimmages that we played in, obviously, was when Texas Tech beat us in Denton. But that was our first road trip. Mm-hmm. So I think that there is no place to hide. There's no place to hide on practice days. There's no place to hide relative to our preparation because you have to be accountable relative to what's about to transpire. We're going to play at Virginia, and there may be 57 possessions in the game.
Right.
It'll be the slowest game any of us have played since we've been here. And so percentage-wise, it doesn't change the percentage of each possession, but it does probably create a different value to each possession because you're not going to have as many possessions. And so I think that would be – I'm thankful for that. Mm-hmm. Again, it's another example of the character of our staff to identify the right character of the players. But for them to be saying so many of the same things and holding one another accountable without a coach having to do it, with this, I think TJ told me today our non-conference schedule through 7 games was the 28th toughest in the country. Ooh. And like 22, I think it's 23 of those teams are the guarantee teams, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
You know, the teams that need to play 10 guarantee games in order to keep their athletic department open. I think there's only 3 Power 5 teams in the top 27. Obviously, we're one of those. That's tall cotton relative to how accountable you have to be, not just on game day. If you're not accountable on the practice days, you're going to get embarrassed on game day. And so I would say that's been the biggest surprise.
You have a mature team, a team that came back. You were very impressed. I loved what you said about FAU, where the players said they were going to come back. They gave Dusty May a contract extension. They kept their word. You were very appreciative of that. You bring a lot of that maturity and experience back, does that help to that situation
For sure.
that you have?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's a lot of voices that are saying the things that they know the program is about long before they ever hear my voice. And I did think when I was studying for Florida Atlantic, obviously it was a short turnaround. We played the first game of the tournament versus Penn State, and then 23 hours later we played Florida Atlantic. And so I wasn't able to do a deep dive like I normally am, but our staff had all of the information that I typically get. I just kind of, as slow as I am, it takes me time to kind of process all the normal stuff. So it was accelerated, but it not confirmed, but pretty reliable. I think before they went to the NCAA tournament, those kids went to the coach and said, "Coach, don't take another job." And the kids went to the AD and said, "We don't want Coach to leave. We know he can get another job." They gave him a 10-year contract. He's the highest paid employee that's ever been there. No player left and no coach left. And forget the name of the school.
Right.
That doesn't happen in this day and age with all of the different variety of choices in different things that are going on. And so I think that's kind of like old school cool.
It really is.
And I hope they win every game. I wish we would have beat them.
Yeah.
But I hope they don't lose again. And maybe it'll work out and we can play them again, and I hope they lose that time. But they won 30 I think they won 32 games last year. It might have been 31. I hope they win 34 this year.
Yeah.
And I just love that. You mean that you said something and your words and your actions were the same? I think in 2023, I stand at attention for that.
He's Buzz Williams. It's the Buzz Williams Show. We will return to Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road here in College Station for more. This is Aggie basketball from Learfield. We want you to download the 12th Man mobile app today, where you'll get the latest news, videos, live game audio, and in-venue promotions for Texas A&M athletics. Plus, you can buy, transfer, and manage your tickets inside the app. Visit 12thman.com/app today. Go mobile and gig 'em. It's the Aggies and Virginia Cavaliers. That will be on Wednesday. 6:15's the tip, 5:30 with our Dos Equis tip-off show, ACC-SEC Challenge. And just looking through some of the numbers, Tony Bennett's been there, and I love what you said. He is going to be a Hall of Famer, absolutely, what he's done there. Third in the nation, they only allow 54 points. You went from teams that were so up-tempo now to a team you have to defend for 30 or more seconds, don't you, against Virginia?
I think Coach will end up being one of the rare few that is inducted into the Naismith Hall of Fame before his career is over. That doesn't happen very often. Coach Calipari, Coach Self, it's very rare. Coach Oriyama.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is his 15th season there, and they've lost 35 times at home.
Yeah.
And if they could score 35 points and win, that's what they would do. I would not suggest watching it. You and Coach Thornton need to have, like, I don't know what the media word is for it, but, you need to have something to talk about because there's not much to describe.
Yeah.
You need 10 to 12 categories of just point at something on your sheet of paper for Coach Thornton and go, hey, let's just talk about that. They're going to shoot in 28 seconds.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. It's completely different in this day and age how they play, right? But there's a conviction to it.
It's miserable.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have I have 10 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have the utmost respect for who he is as a person, like the utmost respect. He is as good a human being as there is that's currently employed as a head coach in any sport in college athletics. Character above reproach. And he's a coach's son. His dad, if he would have coached long enough, would have been in the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Tony was a really good player, played in the NBA, and has been super-duper successful, even at Washington State prior to going to UVA. But it is It makes me anxious. It's so slow.
Yeah.
And, I like to get excited because there's some action. There is no action.
Right.
And so, like, the lack of action creates a different type of anxiousness within me. But I actually think it does in most of their opponents because they score so many points in the last 10 seconds of the possession. And it's because of the lack of discipline, maybe, the lack of toughness to concentrate, the lack of toughness to stay disciplined to your defense. And they are so patient that they're, to some degree, they're just waiting on you to go, that's enough. We just want you to give us the ball. Mm-hmm. Even if you score, we just want to touch it because we're having a panic attack. And when you watch the game, that's what it is. And playing at their place, we beat them once at their place. It was kind of a strange scenario. When we played them on a Saturday night primetime, they were number 2 in the country. We beat them. It was an unbelievable game. We shot it off the backboard from 3. It hit the top of the backboard, bounced up, hit the back of the rim, the front of the rim. It went in. We drop-kicked one in off the glass. There was a lot of crazy things that happened when we won. But at their place, it's even magnified because there's 17,000 people there that they believe that is aesthetically pleasing to their eyes. And so, like, they're enjoying the lack of action, and they're just hard to beat.
Yeah.
Because you can, play more guys, play faster, press them. Like, we've tried all of those things, and none of them work. They're going to do exactly what they do, and you have to bend the game to make it a push on this is what we're going to do, and that's what you're going to do. And we're going to fight about that figuratively per possession.
You always talk about other teams. They can be them when you're best at what you do. Right?
That's right.
They're best at what they do.
Yeah.
It does bring that back. Are they similar to any team that we played in the past? Are they similar to a team in the SEC? Or is it just so dissimilar?
Yeah, Sissy was asking me about it a while ago because she goes to school just a little bit down the road from there, and she's been home for Thanksgiving, and she's going to go there to the game with us. And I was like, Sissy, you've seen them play. Maybe you saw them play 8 out of the 10 times when we were at Virginia Tech. And she's asking me some of these same questions, and I was like, if the shot clock is broken to thirds, they're going to shoot with 3 seconds to go 90% of the time in the last third.
Yeah.
Now, if you give them the ball, their defense, I think, today is ranked 10th in the country. I think that's the hard thing about preparing for a team that has such a unique style of play on both ends is you want to spend so much time on your defense being prepared for the patience of their offense. And then you get to the game and you go, we should have prepared for their defense because their defense is dramatically better than their offense. Their offense is not hard to figure out. It's the discipline and the patience and the care that they take care of in that particular possession. But defensively, I think they're 5th in the country in creating turnovers, 7th in the country in steal percentage. Their numbers are crazy. Defensively, and that's what that's been the hallmark of his career is how sound they are defensively, and everything is so difficult. I think they're top 15 in the country in 3-point field goal percentage, 2-point field goal percentage, just really hard to score on. But you spend all of your practice time trying to get your defense to guard their stuff, and then you get to the game and you're like, we're going to score 12 points.
Right.
And so it's like that's kind of the balance, I think, in the preparation is how can you be prepared offensively for what they do defensively, and then how can you have the endurance for what they're going to do offensively when you're on defense.
If teams aren't patient on the defensive end, Do they get impatient as well on the offensive end and play right into
those
turnovers?
We call it unpredictable.
Yeah.
We want predictability. Solo shot in the short corner yesterday in front of our bench. Solo, you got to come out. Like, that's the most unpredictable thing. We can't absorb that. Andy being cute over there away from our bench. We can't absorb that in a 1 or 2 possession game. If you have 3 unpredictable possessions at UVA, you have 0 chance to win. Like, that's the line in Vegas. 3 times when you have the ball, do you do something that when you're watching you go, what are you doing? If you do that 3 times, you can't win. That's how valuable the possession.
It translates into 6 or 9 points. Let's say. Gotcha. And
it's going to decrease the number of possessions you have.
3 fewer.
Because as soon as you give it to them, they're shooting it with 3 seconds on the clock,
right.
And so you're playing bad math, and you can't ever overcome it.
That's a minute and a half that you just lost in those 3 possessions.
That's exactly right.
One more segment of the Buzz Williams Show. We return to Rudy. Stay with us. This is Aggie basketball from Learfield. Your number one source for the best gear for Aggie fans is 12thmanshop.com. It's powered by Fanatics. Visit 12thmanshop.com today to find the latest gear from Adidas in support of your Texas A&M Aggies. Aggies and Virginia, Wednesday, 6:15, 5:30 with our Dos Equis tip-off show. John and I are going to have to fill up another 15 minutes as well, even before that game. We might run out of topics to talk about, even before that opening tip. Our final segment with head coach Buzz Williams. Buzz, will you have Henry and Boots available for Wednesday?
Yes, sir. I know you were there, but you remember I'm not going to talk about the health of our guys for a lot of different reasons. So,
if they play, they play. If they don't, they don't.
That's right.
Totally get you.
Just trying to be protective of those guys and their families, and there's just so many other variables that are all going into things now. And so I spent a lot of time praying about it and doing research, met with a lot of really smart people throughout the summer, and I'm just going to stay away from that for the rest of my career.
You touched upon about the players who stepped up, and on Sunday, there's no Henry, there's no Boots to come save the day. It was on them. Can that have a residual effect as the season goes on?
You know, like I mentioned it to the what's the name of the school paper?
The Battalion?
Yeah. There was a young man that traveled there for the tournament. And so he was asking several questions last night. And you could argue that there were 5 or 6 guys last night specifically that had to be their absolute best for us to even have a chance. Mm-hmm. But not for one of them to be, for all of them to be. They all had to be the best they had ever been at this level on the same night, in the same game, sometimes on the floor together at the same time. And that happens once every 17 years, where you need 6 guys to be better than they've ever been at that point in their career. And all 6 of them have to do it right now. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
And I don't think I was telling 4, I know there's many arguments to it, and I don't even want to give energy to the argument, but I told 4 this, and I told Rock this, and I told Corey that. And they're my 3 most important people in some ways. I thought it was the biggest win since we've lived here.
Yeah.
Because there were so many, a litany of reasons on how we could have just said, we'll try it again some other time. And that was never even, that subject emotionally was never even broached. And it was not broached by guys who knew that they were going to have to do more than they've ever done before. And for it to all transpire the way that it did, I'll never forget the game, any of it. And because it all happened in one game. Right. You know, like you can't just say, man, Wildham's played unbelievable. Buzz, you ought to play more minutes. Well, I understand. Henry's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, Solo was the leading scorer. He made threes. You ought to let him shoot more. We have. He had made one up until that time.
Yeah.
You know, like, you could just almost say that about so many guys. Jace had more rebounds than points scored. Or Jace had more offensive rebounds last night than he has made threes all season long. It depends on how you want to look at it. But to get 5 offensive rebounds in one game, in the first game you've ever started at this level, and you could just see how hard H was trying and how hard Jace was trying and how mature Solo was in competing. And it's like, hey, have you guys ever played together in practice? No. Yeah, I guess not.
Yeah.
Well, here's your practice. I thought it was so many good things. So I think what it does is it gives great, you don't have to say it, we have lived in belief.
Gotcha.
And belief
is powerful.
It's, what is it? I want to be a hope merchant because the greatest power that there is hope.
He's Buzz Williams. We thank you so much for joining us. Thanks and gig 'em. This is Aggie Basketball from Learfield.